Hi, everybody. Welcome to day number 4 of how to make money with email. We're starting off with just questions, random questions, thoughts, feelings, emotions. And we're going to start with the most questionable, most emotional of them all, Erez. Go ahead. What were your
Okay,
questions?
so let me open what I wrote, so it will be more efficient. Just a second. Uh, comment. Okay. So the first thing is when you spoke yesterday about pop-ups, you said upfront that you're focusing on mobile because everybody is on mobile. And my situation is exactly the opposite because my my users are engineers uh, browsing at work. 80% of my traffic is desktop,
Cool.
and it's very different. And on the weekend, I have no traffic, so it's like a different thing. But anyway, regarding pop-ups, I my question is what do you have to say about pop-ups for desktop? Like, do it short because it's maybe not for everybody, but like the basics. What's the difference?
Yeah.
What is relevant or less relevant regarding what you said yesterday?
Good question. Yeah, it's all exactly the same, honestly, with the exception
So
with mobile. When I'm designing for mobile, um, the design is a little bit different. See, on desktop, you can have, say, an image because you've got more space to play with on your screen. So you might have an image plus your headline. You might even have your logo in that cute little pop-up
Mhm.
form. I don't do any of that in a mobile pop-up form. In the mobile pop-up form, I remove the image, and it's purely the 5 secrets to being as awesome as Erez,
Mhm.
a free email bonus, a very brief description, and then I ask for their email address. In a
So
desktop
now,
form, I might ask for
mhm.
their first name. I might have an image of a machinist at work and so forth.
But it's not because I was maybe afraid, not afraid, but concerned that maybe like you would say that on desktop people find it more intrusive and be more careful with pop-ups. But if it's only design issue, it's clear. I understand what's the
Yeah,
difference in terms
yeah,
of design. It's clear.
yeah. I think people are actually more forgiving on desktop than they are on mobile, just simply because of the
Yeah.
space
Because
constraints on mobile.
also on desktop I think it's possible to have like less intrusive pop-ups like slidings
Uh-huh.
because I have a lot of space on the sides that on white screens is is white.
Yeah.
Would you say it's better or still a pop-up in right in the middle is the best option?
Oh, I think it's in your case, you're going to want to experiment. In your case, I think having some sort of integrated flow into your calculators are probably the best options. Figuring that out, be unique and different from what other people have. But typically, the standard pop-up that you see is the one that works the best. The sliders and things like that, they can be helpful. They can be useful too. They might depending on how you're using them, some people use them almost as a question starter, and it slides in like a chat bot would. Um, and some people are creative using it that way. Other people use those sticky bars across the top on desktop. Um, those can be helpful. Exit intent is practically useless. Just my 2 cents on that. So do with that what you will. So I think more than anything, it's just getting something up and experimenting, and then trying different options. You're so much at that beginning starting phase. I would probably just pick a basic pop-up, put it up, get going,
Okay.
see how it goes, and then and keep going down the path.
And the second thing you mentioned me yesterday and you said okay people for like for my type of content would be probably less tolerant to get a lot of emails.
Yeah, well, yeah,
And so like, what would you say is a decent frequency for such an audience?
I can't tell you that. I know nothing about the life of a machinist.
It's not necessarily machinists. It's like people that are in technical sphere and at work, not as a hobby. That's
Yeah,
like it doesn't mean it doesn't matter if it's a machining or I don't know computer programming for that
right.
sake.
Okay. It still holds true that it's not spam if you're providing value. So with food, I get hungry every day. You give me something to eat every day, and that works great for me. I'm going on a Disney cruise vacation, and there's a lot to consume about that vacation. If I got an email every single day with every single piece of information, it might be overwhelming because I can't consume all of it. But maybe once or twice a week, I can deal with that. Um, so I'm not really sure. I would start with weekly. Most of us can handle weekly for sure. And then I would see, does it make sense to do two a
Okay.
week? It just depends on the content that you're providing them too. Is there urgent content? Is there stuff
No,
that's
nothing urgent.
right?
Nothing urgent, and also everything is evergreen. There is
Right.
no seasonality. There is no special events. It's the same all the time in terms of that. So,
What I might
okay,
consider in your case is a forever series then that I'd send maybe weekly or twice a week. And then,
okay,
see if that just feels like a comfortable place to start. I don't think anybody's going
okay,
to get upset with you, but you're going to have to toy with that.
okay. Starting weekly sounds decent.
Yeah.
And then my third question is regarding deliverability issues. I'm not sure if this is now the right time to deal with it. So I think it's better if you read it and then,
Okay.
tell me if it's the right place,
All
because
right.
it's a longer question and a bit more technical, but for me it's very interesting.
All right. Why
What
don't you,
stage
why don't
of
you,
matter?
will you paste the question into the chat and then
Yeah, yeah,
in the meantime, I'll address Samantha's question. Samantha,
yeah. Okay, I'm putting it right
remind me
now.
what yours was.
So I'm going to give you an example that I'm doing. So a few months ago, only about 1 or 2 months ago, I added a second email that I was manually writing every week, introducing a new spice. And I kind of talk about it. And I got some good feedback. So now I was thinking about making that into the Forever series, kind of like transitioning from seafood. And then here's kind of how to build like a Mediterranean pantry. But because I was getting feedback, I was like, hey, how do I structure this so that now the new people will get it, but also the subs that have been around, how do they get the new ones?
Okay.
So I wasn't really sure how to do that.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. First of
Okay.
all, I love the idea of putting that stuff into your Forever series because it is evergreen. It educates them, it teaches them, and you're especially it's lovely that they're giving you, kudos when you're sending it. When I create a new Forever series for a new client, we take all of their existing subscribers and we pick them up and we drop them into the Forever series as if they are new. So they're starting on week number one, just like everybody else is.
Okay,
Um,
so may I ask you something? So because they're used to getting 1 to 2 emails a week from me, is it now like they're like, hey, I already know you. Like, why are you sending me all of this right now back to back? Is that like too overwhelming for them? Or do you think they'll like it because now they're seeing things that they might not have seen in a while?
my guess is that you'll get three people that it's overwhelming for, and the rest of them are like, "Who are you again?" I mean, that's terrible to say, but that's just how it is. Their inboxes are full. You may be their devoted, diehard favorite food creator of the world, and I hope that you are. But you also may be one of a few newsletters that they signed up for on a whim at some point. And now, as you send more, you're serving them more. You will definitely, all y'all, once you start increasing your sends, there will be an initial but very short time frame when some people will go, I'm out. And what's happening there is honestly, they're probably getting the email going, who is this? Not because you're overwhelming them with emails, it's because they don't remember who you are and you haven't provided enough value for them to be like loyal to you to begin with. So um, I say go for it because that becomes the new norm now. Now your list is going to start growing faster, we hope, and you'll have more people coming in. The frequency they'll be used to it.
So
As
just
they,
to clarify, should I add the old subs only to the Forever series, not to that back-to-back welcome 1 day in a row? Like, should I only add them to the Forever series, right?
if you mean the quick start guide, is that what you
Yeah.
mean? So
Yeah.
I don't typically auto subscribe people to a new quick start guide. That's typically used to attract new subscribers. However, I do like the approach of letting them know, hey, I made something. So let's just use Stephanie, if you don't mind, Stephanie, as an example. Stephanie created this new quick start guide for this certain restaurant chain for copycats. Stephanie, you've had an audience for a long time of copycat folks. And you're emailing them regularly as it is. If they all of a sudden started getting 5 in a row, they might see that as too much. However, if you sent them an email and said, I made a thing, if you love such and such as much as I do, click here, and it's just a link trigger is what it's called, that will automatically add them into that sequence. My bet is that a high number of them will go, awesome, I'm in. And then you're actually getting bonus emails because the ones you're regularly sending plus the quick start guide for a short period of time. So that's my typical approach. There might be reasons that you like it may be so cornerstone important to your business and this is who you want to be when you grow up and you want everybody to go through it. Sure, pick them all up and drop them in it. Don't ask, just do. But yeah, it's gonna kind of the answer is gonna it depends there. Sabrina, if you'll stick around at the very end, and anybody who wants to know, I'm going to show Sabrina a little kit trick that might save you some time with the thing that you're embarking on. Okay, it's called Snippets. If you're unfamiliar with it, it's changed my life, and I'll show you how it's helpful. Okay, looking at. All right, let's talk about this deliverability question. Erez is talking about damaging the reputation of your daily work email. So let's just stop for just a quick second. Whatever domain name you're sending from, you want today, this is newish within the last year or so. Your email platforms such as MailerLite and Flowdesk and ActiveCampaign and MailChimp and Kit, they all are asking you to set up what's called a verified sending domain. The verified sending domain is a little technical, so we won't spend too much time on this. But if you're in Kit, for example, you're going to want to go set that up. It's in the settings. I've got it here somewhere. I'll just show you. And if you're not on Kit, it's going to be something similar, right? So you're going to come in here and you're going to go to domains and not domains, email, excuse me. And right here, your verified sending domain, you need to set that up so that the reason I don't have it set up is this is a playground account. Okay. So I'm not actually sending anything from this, but you would just follow these steps of adding your verified sending domain. There's a couple of things that you have to do with your DNS provider, meaning your web host usually can help you with this. If you're with Big Scoots, for example, they are fantastic at helping with this. Or if you're doing it yourself and you're managing it, it'll give you, once you get past this point, it'll give you step-by-step instructions on what to modify with your DNS record.
But this verified domain must be your website domain.
It can be whatever you
regular
want.
Email, or it can be something else
whatever
separated.
You want. Yeah.
And what is better to do? That's like the basic question.
It doesn't matter. Honestly, if you want to send from machiningdoctor.org and have all email come from that and leave web traffic and other things for your .com, that's totally fine. It's just what this is setting up here is you're going to be telling Google and Yahoo and all those that, yes, this is who I am. I own this domain name. People are not spamming from it. And so when you get something from newsletter@machiningdoctor.org, that is legit and you should treat it as such. And that's going to be your best bet for deliverability. But it doesn't matter which domain you choose to send from. Just make sure that you've gone through this process on any one of those that you
No, I mean, the natural thing is to use my main domain, which people know, but I was just curious if I take a risk by doing so to damage its reputation. If, let's say, I don't get enough open rate or something, and I suddenly marked as a spam, and then I'm in big trouble. Or
Well,
is it not a risk? I mean, that's
well,
like the question.
I mean, you run that risk, I guess, with any domain that you're sending from. If you're sending spam and people mark it as spam and you act spammy, then you're going to hurt your reputation. My suggestion is don't do that.
Oh,
Uh,
no, I don't tend to spam, but sometimes those systems, maybe, you are not thinking you're spamming, but somehow you are caught in some kind of
yeah,
you're identified. So if I have another domain, I can separate that risk from my main domain. And I
sure.
was wondering if that's a good approach, or I
I don't
shouldn't
think
do
I would
that.
worry about it. I would go more of what's better for your user experience and your branding and what you want to accomplish there
Hmm.
because if you follow these guidelines, you're not going to be a spammer. I don't see you running any risk of that. And if you do, there are ways to get out of that jail. It's just a little bit of a pain. Min Shen, did you?
Yes, I have a quick question. So I'm actually in the process of moving from MailerLite to Kit,
Okay.
and I actually did this yesterday. I have to admit, I just followed the instructions. I'm not very technical. Um, if I have already done this with MailerLite, and I couldn't remember if I did it when I was at MailerLite, redoing it again wouldn't hurt anything, right?
You have to do it again.
Okay, good.
Because
That's
now,
actually even
because
better.
Kit is basically saying we're going to send from our servers.
Got it.
They give you some DNS records that you're going to
Okay,
update with your DNS that basically tells the internet it's okay when we send from our email from your domain.com that it comes from a
perfect.
Kit IP address,
Okay.
right?
Okay, awesome. Thank you for
But
clarifying that.
by the way, I have if you know I have the means to help you with migration for free if you need help. So just let me know, okay?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
For
So,
free?
but anybody that switches over to Kit, I send them so much business that I've got a person over there. Typically you have to be migrating at least 5,000 subscribers. If you're less than that, then let's talk. But send me an email and we talk about it. Um,
Okay. Okay.
that goes for
Yeah,
anybody
I'll send you an email.
that's
Okay.
considering switching to Kit. Um, what's nice about that, before I finish that thought, is that they set things up with kind of the Matt Mullen setup, which is a ready-made template that is professional looking, looks, it's ready to go. Um, it has some of these things like the Forever series sequences already pre-set up for you. So if that helps you kind of get going faster. Okay. Wow. Good questions, gang. Anybody else? Let's deal with the stuff people are dealing with before we dive into the spreadsheet or the PowerPoint. So yesterday, just kind of on the topic of forms and pop-ups, I didn't hear from anybody that said that they launched anything yet. I'm hoping that one or two of you have gotten brave and launched a pop-up and have got it out there. And if you have, I am happy to look at that and give you any feedback. Stephanie put her hand down real quick.
I did now. Yeah. Sure. I'll give you a URL that you can do it on.
Okay.
So I did it category based. So let me drop in one of those things.
Okay. Now, Stephanie, you're a little bit of a pro at this, so
Yeah.
I'm expecting not too much nitpicky, but we'll see, huh? Um,
You can absolutely nitpick away. Did get some subscribers from it. So
okay, so it is capturing subscribers. That's good.
yes.
And if anybody has a form that is not, those are the ones I really want to see because I think that there may be something we can do. Let's talk about that for a second. If your form isn't working, or excuse me, if it's not capturing subscribers, step number one, is this thing on? You go test it, right? You come up with make sure that it's doing what you think it's supposed to be doing. So number one, we need to eliminate tech issues. That probably goes without saying. Number two, it could be the design. It could be that it blends in. Number three, it could be that you're just not, the message is not conveying you're not identifying the right problem and not offering the right solution, or at least they don't feel that in your messaging. For example, and sometimes we're just off. sometimes we just swing and miss. I, I don't think I told this group this. I had one of my earliest clients ranked very high for pie recipes. And so in my wisdom, I thought we need to make a quick start guide on how to make the perfect pie. And so we put together this series on how to bake the perfect pie. And people land on that. We showed the pop-up and crickets, nothing, nobody signing up. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Till I took a step back, kind of thought about it for a minute. How often does somebody actually bake a pie during the year? And why are they baking a pie? It's a special occasion like Thanksgiving, or they've got a church function they're supposed to bring a pie to. It's one of those two things usually. So if that's you, then you're probably not interested in baking the perfect pie or taking the time to do that. I just need to make this one pie for this one thing. But it does, if somebody is willing to bake a pie, that tells us that they're into baking. They could have gone to the store to purchase the pie. They do sell those. And so instead, they just decided to bake it. We switched to a more, a baking centered quick start guide, and off it went. So sometimes we just are missing the mark. And then lastly, probably not lastly, but the last one I can think of at the moment is you're just not showing it in enough places. Yeah, you made one and you put it in the sidebar on this one category. Nobody sees that. So, okay, if you're serious about it. All right, look at this. We'll pull this up here and see what happens. Stephanie, thank you for being willing or not so willing. All right. Get our most loved Cracker Barrel copycat recipes. Okay. Now, a few things going on here that you can see, everybody. Whoop. All right. First of all,
I probably need to fix that.
well, the animated GIF is eye-catching, isn't it? And for those of you who want to know how to make an animated GIF, in Kit, you can just create the GIF and add it, and it treats it like that. If you want to know how to make one, go to easygif.com/maker. It's free, and I'm sure that ChatGPT can walk you through all this too. But you can follow those steps if you like, and you can make animated GIFs because it is eye-catching, isn't it? All right. Or you can do it in Canva. Cool. Now I'm going to start the nitpicking process here. Well, no, I'm not. I'm going to tell you what I really like. Get our most loved Cracker Barrel copycat recipes. You're on a copycat Cracker Barrel recipe. It stands to reason that you're going to want more. That attachment makes a ton of sense to me. And I imagine that it's going to help higher conversions because they're so closely aligned. This is a lot of words right here. Mm-hmm. Something along the lines of, I just want to shorten this up and jazz it up a little bit. My top 10, that's everybody understands David Letterman style. Or even just like, Cracker Barrel copycat, or my signature copycat Cracker Barrel recipes, or something that just kind of shortens this up a little bit. I'm not mastering it, but that's what I'd be focusing on. This X right here, while stylistically it works with the gray, I really want them to be able to see that. Otherwise, you're going to probably get complaints or people going, I don't know how to close it. Even if, because on mobile, I know that they can just touch around it and it should close. They still will get freaked out by that. So make this stand out, folks. Send me Cracker Barrel recipes is good. Notice what she didn't do. Stephanie didn't put subscribe or anything like that. You could also do, yes, I want this, or get them now, or something that is really actiony, like I like the send me approach. And then on mobile, so Stephanie, if you go back into the email on autopilot course, if you haven't, you might have to dig for the module that has the Poplar Kit version. Use my CSS, and it'll make it so that this animated GIF does not show on mobile. It will also get rid of the first name field, so that it'll just condense your form down a little bit more on mobile.
All right, I will definitely do that. I appreciate that.
Awesome. Loving it. Okay, cool. Good work. We're off and running, and now everybody is going to go get all the Cracker Barrel recipes that they're not going to come back here because they're going to be off cooking tomorrow, all Cracker Barrel stuff. So, okay. Anybody? Any other? Did I miss any questions? All right, good. Yes, ChatGPT can help you with these prompts for sure. I want to share with you today. I'm going to skip all this stuff. We're going to get into ways to make money with email. I'm using a deck that I shared at Tastemaker, and I know it's specific to food, but these principles are still true since I spoke at Tastemaker, and I didn't want to remake the presentation. All right, so we're ready to get into making money. Before I go too much further, you probably guessed it. But the easiest way to make more money with email is to get a bigger list, send more relevant emails that people want, and get them to click more. More subscribers, send more emails, get more clicks, make more money. That is overstating the simplicity, but that's the first and foremost as Raptive creators. That's the easiest way for us to think about making money. I have a picture here of this child, because I want to remind you that everything that we're going to talk about today, some of it, not everything, but some of it might feel like it's a little bit more advanced. You probably at one point didn't even know what WordPress was. And did you make money blogging right away? You have to walk before you crawl. And so I want you to think about that in terms of email and anything that we're talking about here today. It's all doable. You don't have to do all of it. You don't have to do any of it. I just want to spark ideas. And even if you're not quite ready today, you will be soon. It starts with the foundations that we've been building up to this point. All right. Easy number one to make more money with email. First of all, I know this is a Raptive sponsored presentation, mastermind, but I'm including Mediavine in here. Follow what they are doing. Pay attention to everything that both companies do as it relates to email, because they are focused heavily on first-party data these days. There's a reason for that. The email address is more valuable than it's ever been as it relates to the ad companies. So over the last 3 years, Mediavine and Raptive have done a lot. They've spent a lot of money related to email. Mediavine, I don't know if you know much about what they've done, but they created a whole login system specific to email called Grow, so that they could get more email subscribers. Raptive is very heavily invested in newsletter identity. I hope you're all familiar with this. If you are not, you really need to read this and understand it. In fact, I will talk about it a little bit. Is anybody brave enough to admit they don't quite get what this is all about? Okay, all right. A few people are brave. Let's go through this. But first, they have just done a ton in terms of investing. I mean, this doesn't even mention the Save This Recipe from Slickstream, the gated print that is coming out. They have dedicated teams where for their biggest creators that are making them lots and lots of money, they manage their email for them at the highest levels, because email is so valuable. So, in short, they are all investing real money. And the reason for that is that advertisers can use the email address almost as a cookie replacement. Because when they understand who you are, now think about it for a minute. We do pretty much everything with our email address. They all know that Louise drives a Honda, loves to shop at Nordstrom, and enjoys vacationing in Winnemucca, Nevada every third year. Knows that she's got 55 kids. They know all these things about Louise. And as a result, they can start to paint a picture in the same way that web cookies have done, but email does that for us. And how that is done is they hash, meaning they obscure the email. They don't know it's Louise at louisesawesome.com. All right. It looks like a bunch of characters. And that gets dropped into these data clean rooms. And then they go, okay, that string of characters represents some person named Louise that drives a Honda, has 55 kids, and loves Winnemucca, Nevada. As such, they can then serve more targeted ads. So when you have more emails that get an ID attached to them, they can do better targeting. And better targeting means more dollars. Back to this. The way that this works is that every email that you send from Kit, Flowdesk, MailerLite, wherever, if it has this newsletter ID, where is it? Appended to the end of the, here's an example. Okay, here's an example. Appended to the end of the link. This is how it works in an ActiveCampaign. It looks something like that. Then when somebody clicks on that link, they say, aha, Louise at louisesawesome.com. We know it's you, and we've captured your identity, and now we can track you across the Raptive network. So when Louise goes to Samantha's website for her Mediterranean recipe, and then later wants to know how many square tons of stainless steel she needs to use today, and she goes over to Erez's website, Erez actually gets the benefit of Samantha identifying her. So the network effect helps us all. So the more that are ID'd, the more money we all can make. In fact, what James at Raptive, the vice president of engineering, has told me as recently as last month, they're seeing 40% higher RPMs on ID'd traffic. So we want as much traffic to be ID'd as possible. So easy way number one is to make sure that you're setting this ID. Now, Keith just mentioned something important. It gives me a chance to brag a little bit, which I do love. Thanks, Keith. So ActiveCampaign, you see what you have to do here with ActiveCampaign? You have to add that. Here's Beehive, you have to add that. Constant Contact, etc. In Kit is the one platform where you do not have to add it yourself to every single link. Every other platform, you need to add to every link this code. Otherwise, it will not track it. That's a little bit of a pain. When this came out, I was starting to do this for my clients, and I said, this is too much of a pain. I happen to know the CEO over at Kit pretty well because I've worked with them for so long. And I said, pretty please, talk to James. And so because I was able to connect those two inside of Kit, it is automatic. All you have to do is switch on these two things down here. All right. So if you go into your settings, my Kit using friends, make sure that you have these set right here. That one and that one. And when you do that, you will not have to touch the links or worry about it ever again. Everything is automatically ID'd. Okay? Otherwise, if you don't do this, then yes, Jessica's got a handy spreadsheet that you can drop your links into, and then it'll append those links for you. Okay? But you want to do it regardless of the platform. That's just, I know it doesn't look like it, but that's just money sitting there. All right, that's the newsletter ID. Easy way number two to make more money with email. Send more emails. So if this math works out, this was a long time ago. This is back when it first came out. I haven't bothered to do it since, but you could, it was obvious. This is just illustrating the point. We tracked overall session RPMs versus Kit session RPMs. It was ConvertKit at the time. And at the time, just the email traffic was worth 22% more. from an RPM perspective. It's now worth more, as I've told you, with the numbers from James on ID'd traffic. So it's getting better and better in terms of it being more and more lucrative. Email easy way number 3. Email more about your money makers. Some of your posts make you more money than others from an RPM perspective. Here's a illustration of that. On this, I don't remember what this is. This is from I think this is like a coloring pages here, a Disney coloring pages. I don't remember which one, but you can see that it had 32,000 page views during this period and made $618. This other post, which was probably a resort or something, only had 11,000, but made $532 or $30 RPM difference. Now, all else being equal, why wouldn't I send this link more than that link? Now, I said all else being equal. Let's not get crazy, you know. Just because your tuna casserole raisin carrot soup cake gets really high RPMs does not mean that that should be sent in every single email. In fact, I could argue that one may never be sent. But if you have 2 different recipes that are kind of the same or in the same genre and people like them kind of equally and you recommend them equally, but one makes you more money, I'd probably send that other one a lot more. I'd also find excuses to send my top stuff more frequently. You can create different themes for your broadcasts, can't you? Nostalgic, my favorites, what's trending this month. There's 3 different themes where the same recipe could show up in all 3 of those. None of your subscribers will be mad at you for doing that. They will also not remember or track the fact that you've got the same recipe in all 3. Okay? Easy way number 4 to make more money is to track your profitability and understand your ROI. Erez asked this exact question. Is it actually possible to have to be ROI positive just from email traffic? To answer that question, I created a spreadsheet for you, a calculator, if you will. Just take this. I'm going to drop this in. Okay, it's going to give you access to this tool. Just come up here again, make a copy for yourself. But all you do is you plug in your email subscribers. How many times do you send each month? Some ballpark figures on these other things. Take a guess on your RPMs. Just guess. Throw in your monthly Flowdesk or MailerLite cost and drop it in here. And then take a look. What does that look like? Now, we're not even talking about affiliate, sales, sponsorships. We're not even talking about all the other ways that you might make money. We're just talking about the stuff you see in your normal dashboard that you can throw in here today. It might convince you to send a couple more emails this month because you might make a little bit more. All right. So, because quite often I hear about how email is a cost center, when the reality is I have clients that, so I have one very big client right now where we send daily emails. And she's making a lot of money off of that. Because I track for her how much money she makes on the email. So I can tell you that your size and your scale and your scope obviously makes a big difference. And in her eyes, it's not as big for her as Google and Raptive ads there, but it's her second largest source of traffic. So it's huge for her. All right. Now, we're going to move into the part of our program that does not have the word easy in front of it. Okay? So there are more ways to make money, but none of them there's the reason that we're even having this conversation. If it was easy, you would have already known about it. Your friends would have already told you and you'd be copying it already, right? So now we're going to get into what are the people who really dedicate themselves to in email. in a world where you've got 800 other choices of how to spend your time. In order to make money with email, it really all starts here. This may seem like marketing 101, but it often gets forgotten. What problem can you solve? Now, most of you are in food. I am struck. I'm not surprised anymore, but I was to begin with, on how few food creators can actually answer this question. Do you feel like you can answer this question? I'm pausing for effect right now. Everything that you do from here on out, if you nail this, it becomes so much easier, because the whole point of email is just to send messages, isn't it? So what are the messages about? And so if you don't have this dialed in, you can't be as effective as you want to be. So honest to goodness, spend some time here. In fact, I don't have a slide on this. You would have to go into the Email on Autopilot Facebook group, which you are all welcome to join once you sign up for the Email on Autopilot course, which you should have done because that was free, and we all love free stuff. But inside my Facebook group, there's a link to an interview I did for the Facebook group with a marketing expert mentor of mine named Greg Head. And he talks about positioning, branding and positioning. And positioning is the real estate that you occupy in somebody's mind. Now, most of us didn't know each other before this. By now, perhaps you've got a picture of who Matt Mullen is in your head. It might be the email guy for bloggers, something like that. That positioning is valuable to me. I know a lot about a lot of other things. And I know a lot about email related to e-commerce. But that's not how you've got me figured out, right? You've got me. Rick Steves is the travel expert for European travel. We know who he is, and that gives us context. Once we have figured out the problem that we solve for people, and that positioning is super duper clear, you differentiate yourself. Once you differentiate yourself, it's so much easier to do everything else that we're going to talk about here. So if any one of you have struggled with that, please go look up. His name is Greg Head. It's in the Facebook group. You'll find the interview there. It can change your business. It literally changed my business. Changed my whole career, actually, because he gave me the tools to solve this at every business that I'm at. He's got almost a Mad Lib, fill in the blank way to kind of nail down what your proposition, what your position, your brand position is. When we get into this, that's where the stuff related to segments starts to matter way more. For the purposes of this conversation, we're going to call segmentation the act of dividing up your list by type, okay? When we do that, we now can create different messages for these people who have different needs. We discussed this with somebody with air fryer versus others. Oh, it was Keith, I think. The person who has an air fryer, we know that they have a very specific device with a specific set of instructions. And if we just give them a general chocolate cake recipe, they try to make that with an air fryer, it will fail. So when you are able to segment, you're able to provide more pointed answers and education and solutions to their problems. Ultimately, what does that lead to? Better open rates and increased sales. I think somebody said this the other day, something similar to this, but solve my problems and then maybe I'll buy from you. In today's world, I mentioned Rick Steves a few times. I love Rick. I consume his content. I think I've only bought one of his books over the course of time. So solve my problems and maybe I'll buy from you. In today's internet, it's really hard to sell anything until you've built up trust. So How do you build up trust? Here's my suggestion. You build out lists of segments of target readers. And you figure out what it is that how you can help them and send them these aha moments over and over and over again. And then you monetize. This happened to me a couple of years ago. I got tagged in a Facebook group by somebody I didn't even know, but she'd been following my stuff, and she basically she knew I was in the group, I guess, and she says, email doesn't work. I've tried to sell my ebook now, and I've made nothing. So email sales is a scam or something like that. And I'm like, okay, I'll take the bait. And I actually got on a call with her. I said, tell me what you're doing. She said, I shouldn't chuckle. She said, I'm selling this book about my health journey where I used nutrition to transform my health. I went through some tough stuff and nutrition changed my health. It was great. That sounds wonderful. So who did you send it to? I sent it to my email list. Okay. How did they get on your list? Through my blog, which is about Southern cooking. Okay. And what's your number one recipe there? Fried chicken. Okay. So most people signed up for your newsletter for fried chicken. How many emails did you send about your journey? I sent one email to the list and nobody bought. And we're calling it a failure because you sent something about eating healthy to a bunch of people who wanted Southern fried chicken. I mean, do we not see the disconnect? So building that trust, so sending one email campaign it doesn't work that way. Intuitively, we know that, but when we sit down to actually do the exercise, we send out a campaign and we hope and we pray, I'm guilty of this, that we just flooded with sales. So what are your top segments? Honest to goodness exercise. I'm gonna give you 60 seconds here because I've got Diet Mountain Dew over here calling my name. All right, so I'm gonna take a sip. I want you to think about your top 5 segments. Who are the different people that you serve? And this is where some of you are going to get real stuck. Oh, that's good. Good for me too, probably. Your segments are the people that you serve. All right. Did you come up with some? Were you able to do it? Was it harder than you thought? Maybe a little. Look, when you start to narrow it down, you it forces you to think through who these people are a little bit. It was hard. Okay, Jessica, but not for Sabrina. Sabrina, all right, let's talk about this. Sabrina's using big words. Okay. Ooni pizza oven owners. That is a very specific audience with a very specific device. Well done. Seafood lovers is an audience. Mushroom pickers. They're
I
that
have a
sounds
lot
like
of wild mushroom recipes and they do quite well.
okay.
Picking up now because it's just getting into the season.
Okay. So if we think about that for a second, let's just tackle the first one, the Ooni pizza oven. I actually looked into this a couple of years ago, and there were not very many recipes for the Ooni pizza oven relative to the audience, and so it seemed like a place where you could rank. So people who have addressed that, if I have an Ooni pizza oven, I need to know what to bake and how to make it, how to manage the heat and all that stuff. So super helpful that way. And Now, what can you do with them? I don't know. We're going to talk about that later. But knowing that you have them, that you have a captive audience, in the case of a Disney cruiser or somebody going to Disneyland, this opens up the opportunities that we're about to talk about. Okay? So if it's hard for you, then I would suggest really try to think through your biggest traffic posts, recipe, content, and identify who cares about that and why. What's their motivation? Sometimes it's obvious. They Googled uni pizza dough, and then that's real obvious. Sometimes they Googled clam chowder, a little bit less obvious. Sometimes they Googled uh, uh, chicken mushroom skillet dinner, even less obvious, trying to narrow it down, right? But figuring that out is crucial and key. Figuring out who you are and how you serve them is the next step beyond that. I have Jewish readers who don't eat seafood, would love to segment them, okay? I have a hard time figuring out who my audience is. I have a variety of recipes from comfort to healthy plus multicultural. It gets confusing. Absolutely. That's just what we were talking about there. And your blog, your channel may serve multiple segments. When we figure it out, though, here's the basics for dealing with them. Oh, here's ways that you can figure it out too, by the way. You can ask via survey. You can send an email out to your folks and ask them. The problem with that is that very few people will actually take the survey. We talked about that a little bit, didn't we? I think yesterday. But it doesn't mean it's worthless. You definitely will learn stuff, and it's good to do. And the people who do tell you, why wouldn't you want to know what they're interested in? And at least that segment, that portion of the audience, you can segment. You can also tag your links. So, for example, if you're sending an email out, you can set a tag. If it's Instant Pot, you could tag it so that anybody who ever clicks on that link, they get tagged with interest Instant Pot. So you would have a pretty good sense. You could actually go back to your forms. Did you send out an ebook? Did you have other forms where you were doing a series of some sort? And go back and go, oh, these people all signed up for my pizza ebook. I can probably associate them with the pizza segment. My one that is starred and that's in yellow is start now with the tactics we've been talking about. So for example, Sylvia, let's say that you have a multicultural recipe, a set of recipes. Create a quick start guide that's specific to that. On your healthy category, create a quick start guide related to healthy, eating right and eating healthy. If you want to specifically call out recipe for Jewish readers, you could call that out, and the people who are interested in that will sign up. And when they do, you know that you have a good sense of a little bit more of your segment. Also, I noticed I put existing subscribers. Remember that thing where I send out an email and said, hey, I made something. If you want it, sign up here. This is a good use for that. Kit does allow that, Keith. Yeah, there's different ways that you can use tags to do that sort of thing. All right, but this is my suggestion here. I think for sake of time, we're gonna kind of wrap up here because the next logical thing to dive into would take us a good deal of time. So let's stop at this point, because this is setting the foundation for tomorrow, when we will get into things like sponsorships and sales, selling a product, affiliate offers, and a bunch of other unique, interesting things that people are doing that I will share a bunch of examples with you tomorrow. If you have a product or service or a way that you make money besides Raptive's ads, will you let me know? Is anybody selling products, a membership group, an ebook, a cookbook, a consulting service? Okay, so you've got is that a print cookbook, Sam? Is that it comes out next spring? Okay, good. So you're going to want a big list, Sabrina, because those are the people that you want to either dazzle your publisher that you've got a bunch of pre-sales, or you get the people in there. All right, cookbooks are a great place to start. In order to do that, you can start to see now where we're going with this. With the why would I ever buy a cookbook from you? I have only bought one Rick Steves guidebook, yet I listen to his audio tours that are free on his app. I watch his PBS stuff that's now on YouTube, but I've bought one book. Why would anybody ever buy a cookbook from you? Okay. Who is that person likely to be? What are they interested in? Creating an online course. Okay, perfect. Courses are a great thing to do. We can nurture our lists and find out how to help them. And then a course is a great way to lean into that a little bit. All right. Great stuff, everybody. Tomorrow we'll dig in. It'll be like drinking from the fire hose as I share more ideas than you can even stand. If you have any additional questions, stick around. I'm going to show Sabrina something in Kit if anybody wants to see it. And if you want to talk about your personal situation, I'll be here. All right. But if you got to get, we will see you tomorrow, same time. All right. Let's look at this, Sabrina. Let me show you. Sabrina, do you use the snippets in Kit?
I did. I went and made one with my social media little things,
Okay.
and I remembered to add those to my first emails.
Uh-huh.
And then I forgot to add in my logo one. I've got to go edit that because it was too big. I wanted it to be small.
Okay. So it sounds like you already know about this, but if you're creating a template, say we're
That's
using,
what I didn't do. I didn't create my own template.
yeah, you definitely want to create your own template, and then with inside of a template, you can either add in an image directly, so that it's always here, and then you can
Right.
resize it and stuff like that, and that would probably be a fix for you. The reason I don't necessarily always go that route, I go the next step and add it as a snippet, is because I might have multiple templates. If I ever change the logo or my wording or I do this with my signature as well.
Right.
I want to just change it in one place, and a snippet allows me to do that. So all a snippet is just a code block here. Da, 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 da. Let's see, what have I got? So this is I was doing something for. Okay, so here's Ali Abdal's. If you and so it's a signature. What we can do back with the template is that we can plug in his signature here.
How did you add that little profile picture of him in a circle down there?
So that is HTML code.
Oh.
Come on, don't do that. You've got ChatGPT that will bake it for you.
Okay.
Come on, embrace it. This is
Okay.
easier than it's ever been.
Okay.
And if you want, I'll just copy.
Oh, thanks.
Use that.
Well, thank you.
All right. So, but basically, you can make these little snippets. So now, on every email that is generated, it'll automatically create that. It's like
Nice.
using a reusable block or something.
Yeah, exactly. And I didn't get too many unsubscribes from a list that I hadn't emailed in ages the other day.
Oh,
Only maybe 3 or so, but I realized that without putting my logo, people probably were really clueless as to who I am because it didn't say West Coast Kitchen Garden, it said my name.
right.
And yeah, so I want to
Yeah.
fix that.
Cool. Think in terms of templates and snippets, though, so that you do work one place, and assume that you're going to change it later, and you're going to want to change it across the board. So,
So would you, for a year series, would you use one template and then just kind of use it over and over, punching in those little, different line for the teaser text, different line for maybe the picture if you're going to add it or whatever, but generally everything else would be kind of the same?
yeah. So you know, you could create a template that is specific for your Forever series or whatever series it is. Like, let's say you were making a Christmas series. You could have your logo up here that has a little Santa hat hanging off of it or something. And then when you go to make when you're working in the sequence itself, it's going to be like this one. This stuff it's already, you know, the standard template's going to be there every time. And then it's just the stuff inside that changes.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
So yeah, a couple of things that you can do with that.
That was cool yesterday, I think, when you said you could pause your series. So that would be really great to maybe do a 2-week series of Christmas, New Year's,
Yeah,
pause the Forever series, and then blast the 2 weeks of special holiday stuff at a timely fashion
yeah,
to a whole list, hey?
yeah, totally. Now, let me complicate your world even further. What you could actually do too is almost the exact opposite. So you could create a holiday series that you don't care. Let's say that you don't care if somebody starts the holiday series on October 1st or December 15th, but you know that you have an order that you want that to go in. And then when the holidays are over, let's say New Year's Day, you turn it off. The people that were on October 1st, they got through 3 months of emails. The ones that were on December 15th got through, you know, a week or two. But you turned it off. Next year, October 1st, you turn it back on. The people who are half or, you know, have completed it might start all over. And the people who are halfway through the first one just might continue from there because you don't really care about the order. The order, I mean, or you don't really care about the attachment to the exact date. You
Yeah,
just want to
yeah.
make sure that they get that content in front of them. So that's a way that some people use an automated series even in a seasonal fashion. Probably
Right.
shouldn't bring that up because that's complicated, but
Well, it's cool. It's something to remember for next time when I get this down. Like, I feel like I've learned so much now that in a few more months from now, maybe I'll feel ready for that
yeah,
next.
cool. Awesome. Samantha.
I have so many questions.
Oh,
Hey, how do you feel about, so, I'm doing the Forever series. I'm going to do that ingredient thing. Really excited about it. But I also send out a manual email every week, kind of like, here's what's been going on. And I share like a weeknight recipe that's not really fancy, just kind of something I've made in the kitchen. I write that every week. How do you feel about people that write their emails every week? Is it a waste of time? Should I just like allot time and keep doing it? Should I batch it-ish if I can? Do you have any like, I don't
are
know,
you, what
feedback?
are the opens? What are the opens and clicks?
I mean, they're fine. And why, actually, I don't know. Let me
Okay.
see.
It's
Like,
you don't have to
I will
answer it,
look. Sure.
but this is how I
Oh,
go through
okay.
that
And they're
process.
not crazy high or anything.
First of all, what the question is, why are we doing what we're doing? Of course, sending personal emails is going to lead to a more personal touch with your brand, and people get to know you a little bit
Mhm.
better. Even if the opens and clicks aren't as strong, you may you may say that's okay because the people who do open, I really want them to know me. So it's a brand play.
Yeah, and I do get a reply once in a while that says, "Oh, I really like this recipe," or "Oh," but it's rare, but it definitely happens, which is nice.
So when I do something like this, I have to give cookie cutter advice for the best possible outcomes, right? It's really hard to bring in your individual voice and strategy into it. However, more important than ever before is your voice and your brand, especially when we're doing food creation right now, right? Because we can't just count on throwing up search terms and expect that SEO is going to deliver. All right. So we need to build a brand around that. So sending recipes that are in an automated fashion, they may
Mhm.
actually deliver more clicks for you. However, injecting your personality into things, you're not going to hear me say that's a bad idea.
Right. Okay.
Um, but the reason I tell you the cookie cutter system that I tell you is because most people are like, I don't know what to do. I gotta get started. I just need something to do. But you're at the
Yeah.
stage where if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Okay.
Just these other pieces might allow you to optimize your process a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
That was one question. You said you had lots.
Okay, one more. I don't want to burden anyone, but I was gonna ask if I can pop in one of my ingredient emails that I've been talking about, and maybe you can just tell me, is it too long?
Sure.
Like
Yes.
shorten this, like get like just really basic. Is that okay?
Yeah, of
Everyone can
course.
look at it. I already
Yeah.
showed it to Sabrina
I
yesterday,
know.
and
Well,
she's
I'm
like,
curious what Matt says because I thought it was really nice, and so I'm curious if or how he would shorten it. But I liked it.
Sylvia,
so.
let's while Samantha's throwing that in there, Sylvia, why don't you go and we'll do that.
Okay, so I think it's similar to what Samantha just asked, but basically I send 3 emails a week consistently. The Sunday, which I provide everyone with a week's of worth of recipes for the weeknights. And then a second one where I send my new recipe, and a third one that's based on could be anything, season or holidays or whatever. So my question is, where does the guide or the Forever series fit in?
A quick start guide is before all of that. That quick start guide is to get them onto the list, right? That's your pop-up,
Okay.
that's your form, that's your brochures list, whatever, however you're getting people in there. That's the quick start guide. Once they're on the list, then does it make sense to, if you've got 3 emails a week, to add a fourth where it's the Forever series? Or does it make sense for you to replace an underperforming email with the Forever series? That's how I would look at it. If you and I were working together, we would look at those stats of those 3 emails that you're sending, and we'd say, are people digging this? Should we send one more? I would push you to send one more if we were working together. I've just seen it.
Okay.
People never believe me, but you can send more than you think, especially with food. But if it's a bandwidth issue, then I'd probably look at I'm guessing, but your what's new might be featuring 1 or 2 recipes because they're new. Whereas if you did an evergreen roundup style, you're going to get more clicks and more opens because it has a broader appeal and touches more people. That's my
Okay.
general guess.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was just trying to understand that, the whole process where those series fit in, because it's more hands off to me, which is nice, and I have a lot of content over
Right,
the last 9 years. However, I still want to send out my new
right.
recipes. I don't know where to fit them in.
So could we just take the new recipe? You know, your calendar, are you a planner? Do you have them planned out ahead? You know what the new,
Nope,
okay, so
nope.
next week you don't know what the new recipe is going to be?
I mean, I do next week, but I don't know next month.
Okay, so let's talk about next week. What is it? A soup? Is it a casserole? Is it a bread?
It's the Marry Me Chicken pasta and Marry Me Chicken
Okay.
burger.
So
Or
everybody loves Marry Me chicken pasta, right? It's one of the best pastas, and that would go great with 4 other pastas.
all my comfort food series.
Exactly. So, but
Yeah.
except we're doing this for your existing subscribers. So it's today I'm featuring some of my favorite comfort food pastas, including my brand new Marry Me pasta. It's featured here. This is the big one. I love it, and I made it for this reason. And here's my 4 other most popular pastas. And then you could have featured the new one and bring the more variety into the email. Bring a theme to it that just in case they didn't want that new recipe. So you just play around. There's ways to accomplish both, I think.
Okay, thank you.
Sumac. Have you cooked with sumac before? I have. Okay, what would you like me to comment on here?
So this is an example that I'm going to add to the Forever series. So I have my welcome seafood series, and in the last email, I'm saying, hey, next week you're gonna get I'm gonna introduce you to a Mediterranean pantry. The first spice is coming up next week, and then like this would kind of come a week later.
Okay.
Is this too long? Is it fine? Can I just like copy? I've already sent this to my regular subscribers, so can I just like
I don't think it's too
send?
long. My my questions are
I have
impossible to
recipes at the bottom.
my questions are impossible to answer until you send it. So my gut tells me, see, again, Samantha, this comes down to what are you trying to achieve? If you want the most clicks back to your website, and the reason you might want the most clicks back to your website is to make more money and to increase the odds that somebody makes one of your recipes, then sumac, my gut tells me, is not the thing to send. If you want to educate and stand out as an educator and teach the people who really care how you are different, then this is the thing to send. Do you see the difference?
Okay.
Kind of. Because if I get this and I have not made anything with sumac, I'm gonzo. You're trying to convince me on a word that's foreign to me.
Okay.
When I signed up for just some general recipe inspiration. Now, if I signed up from you to teach me about, how to level up my cooking, then I'm going to pay more attention. You're asking me to try something I've never heard of. Think of every
Right.
newsletter you sign up for, and that there's a brand new concept you've never heard of, and you're skimming. Do you hop in?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, there are going to be people, and you got good feedback on it because you got people that love this education. I'm not bashing it at all because, and again, that's why I'm saying it's impossible for me to answer it because it's what are you trying to optimize for? Now, one thing that I might do with this is put some creativity, some curiosity into this.
Okay.
Like instead of Pantry Spotlight sumac, what problem does sumac solve? It looks like this is my number one go-to finishing spice. If you said my number one go-to finishing spice, then I'd be like, oh, interesting. But here I've already made a decision. I don't know what this is. Goodbye. Or I know what that is and I want to know more.
I understand.
And then the rest of it, great. I'm just
Okay.
telling you my initial reaction on it shows up and everything.
Okay. All right. I'm going to do that. And then you're right. I need to test it out. I can't just be like, I can't be, psychic.
Well, so you're going to do a forever series, right? So in your forever series, what if your first 10 emails one was this pantry spotlight of something that's lesser known, and one was more general stuff of hummus or something that
No, you're right.
Right? And then monitor opens and clicks.
Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah. I feel like
Cool.
I stepped on a little dream there. That's what I feel like after that. I didn't mean to.
No.
Because
That's great.
okay, I want to be super clear on this though. Like if this is positioned like every Thursday, I'm going to help you level up your cooking. We may not say it that way, but I'm going to teach you the authentic secrets to Mediterranean. Then that's in context that makes a little bit more sense to me.
Yeah. I understand.
Okay.
What's funny is that I started sending this a few weeks ago, and then I was kind of sprinkling in season produce, like a tomato one, a basil one, a mint one. And the people that were also replying were like, oh, can you talk about zucchini? And I'm like, okay, I don't want to turn into a gardening site. You know what I mean? That's not anyway. So I'm like, okay, I don't know how to sprinkle that in if I do. Anyway, I'm kind of going off topic, but maybe I'll do it in the summer next year or something, like a little series.
How many subscribers do you
produce? Anyway, 3,200.
Okay. So with a list that size, you probably have some people that are really engaged. And so those people are definitely worth listening to, but it probably represents a small fraction of the overall traffic you're receiving to your website.
It is, yeah.
And so these are the people that whatever your previous promise was caught their fancy, and they're on, and they're great to serve, and they're great to listen to. They got us going. They got us started. At the same time, Martha, as we talked about, she wants the recipes. She could be converted to the little Ferraro way. She just is too busy to know. And so we need to use a little bit more of the hooks to reel her in a little bit more. so that she then does
I
care
got
about
you.
sumac.
Yeah, I got you.
Cool. All right. Good
That
work,
was super
team.
helpful.
All
All right,
right.
can I ask one more
Thank
question?
you.
Sure.
Okay, this is probably going to be shocking to you. I don't have a welcome series yet.
Okay.
So I'm going to change that. I can see the error of my ways. I'm going to build one. But I'm wondering, the people that sign up for the Quick Start Guide, thank you, Samantha, should I then send them a welcome series, or should they just go from there into the Forever series?
Um, I don't actually teach anything about welcome series.
Oh,
It's not really in my bag of tricks. It's probably a
so
blind
do you
spot
think
for
it's
me.
not that big of a deal then?
It depends on what it is. Like what a welcome series historically has been in food is, hi, my name's Sabrina, and I enjoy quiet walks on the beach. You'll catch me reading a saucy romance novel when I have the time. And I learned cooking from my grandmother. Here's how to use my blog. I have fresh ingredients, I have pantry staples, and I have substitution lists. Um,
So,
what's your biggest struggle in the kitchen? And
Yeah, I had that too. I don't think people care, like you were saying.
okay.
so, what? Now, look, I'm not saying that you don't talk about Sabrina. You don't talk about what makes you different and set you apart, but let's think about it from the user perspective. What does make you different and set you apart? That certainly doesn't. Not enough where they care. Because remember, Martha's busy. She does not care. She
Yeah.
has, she can get recipes from Pinterest, AI, and blog and Google everywhere. She doesn't need you yet. Yet. So why would she need you? So in
Yeah.
this, let's take this because I don't know your situation as well as we just talked about Samantha's. In Samantha's situation, Samantha can be your Mediterranean expert. If you really wanted to know how to make Mediterranean food, stick with me, kid. It all start, I've I've visited the Mediterranean. I went to Athens once, so therefore I am an expert and I can share with you how to make a gyro. Um, no, but you can say, look, having grown up in the Mediterranean, I know such and such. My parents were this, and I've made over 1,500 recipes. It starts with these staple recipes that everybody needs to make. See, that's a welcome.
Gotcha. Yeah, so make it a bit about me, but mostly how I can help them, not really
Oh,
just about me.
very well said.
Yeah. I think I'm going to definitely this year focus on offering some menus because I've written my cookbook that way in menus. So maybe that'll, if people go enjoy, that I've paired up, okay, this would make a good menu here, these 4 to 5 recipes, whatever,
Oh,
plus
I
a drink,
like that.
whatever, then they may start to be like, oh, that's helpful or that's cool, I hope. And then, lead into selling the cookbook that offers the recipes seasonally as menus.
I like that. See, that's different.
Thanks. Also,
Um,
back to cooking school, which seems unusual in the food blogging.
why am I just hearing about that now? I'm being serious because these are the things you need to identify in a competitive space. The
Yeah, I
things
mean,
that
it's obviously on
set
my
you apart.
about page, but yeah, if I do, I mean, I think I might just do a very short welcome series of 1 to 3 just to kind of do that. But yeah, I think I
Let
can
me give
see.
you let me give you an alternative way to think about this too, because you have to do this for your book and you're committed to building your list. The things that you just mentioned, what you do different. We don't have to go bash other food bloggers. That's not what we're doing. But what sets you apart, makes you different, is what makes you special to the people that you attract. Sometimes we need to say those things. So what if you identified the 3 things that make you different? West Coast, cooking, culinary school, and I do everything in menus. And
Yeah.
then what if you kept weaving those 3 main things? Because nobody's going to read your about page, even though you may have never even, very few people are actually clicking on that and going there.
No, I think people who might want to get involved with a sponsorship or someone who's Snoopy, and that's about it.
Okay, so that important information about that sets you apart without telling this whole big long life story that they don't really care about yet. Those things are important to them.
Okay.
Oh, you can trust me because I went to culinary school for 500 years and I've made 20 recipes. You can trust me. Or I learned this because as I
Yeah.
made my cookbook such, At culinary school, I learned this.
Right. Yeah. Examples. Yeah.
And you might even say words like how I'm different, why we might be best friends because I'm different. And then you weave those into your emails without making it this big long thing. But
Yeah. Yeah. Just like a sort of dropping in 1 to 2 lines here and there in the odd email or through those 3 welcome series ones.
yeah, exactly.
These down because I think I'll remember them now, but I won't later.
Right. So,
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you.
all right. Well, this is the most important thing in the world, so it's worth talking about.
Thanks.
All right, guys.
Cool. That was cool. Thanks for your help, Matt.
Okay, good luck. We'll see you.
Bye.
See
All
ya.
right, bye-bye.